All right. Last year, I got to talk to you all about e-Edge. I reached out to my social network and I asked, what do you want to hear about? And everybody said, I want to know how to post more interesting things, how to get more interaction. Well, that was a year ago. And if 7 years is a dog year in social media, that's like a decade ago. I think we've got that down. So I asked it again this year, and I got a completely different answer. Actually, I got a lot of answers. Heard a lot of themes there, so through a very unscientific, very slightly biased process, I came up with 3 topics that I really want to cover today. Politics, Pinterest, and personal branding. Politics, because we cannot avoid it this year. Pinterest, because a lot of you are spending a lot of time there. And personal branding, because we all should be doing that a little bit more purposefully. There's a lot of P's I just got out there. Politics, let's dive right in. It's an election year. I'm watching Twitter, I'm watching Facebook, and everybody has an opinion. And we haven't even gotten to the debates yet. And the question I wanted to ask is, in this election year, is it a good business decision for you to start doing posts around politics? Right, y'all have all read Miss Manners too. Well, they actually have some research to back this up, all right, in case you're doubting me. The Pew Foundation just came back with a survey in July. 38% of people were surprised to find out that their friends did not share their political views because of a post on social media. So even though in the real world we tend to gravitate towards people who share our ideas, you know, we have red states and red cities, whole neighborhoods that are red or blue, right? I can predict with great accuracy how someone's going to vote in Austin, Texas based on where they live, right? That's how it works. We like to be around people, we share ideas. Well, what we found out is on social media, it's still a melting pot. And people are surprised about it. That's what kind of shocked me. Well, I read the research and I came up with 5 conclusions. First, if you're going to post around political topics, it's your right, but you could lose a client. 18% of people they surveyed said they'd already unfriended or hidden someone because they were posting about politics, right? Now that's that guy on the back row that you met at the last convention. It's not really a friend, right? No. Of those people, 1/3 of them hid or blocked a close friend. So this is serious. People are sensitive to this issue, and they will absolutely block their favorite realtor. So you need to take that into consideration. And there's 3 practical points. It's kind of a waste of time. That's my opinion. It's unscientific. But I don't think anyone's going to change anyone's vote through a Facebook post. I also think that it's the wrong platform. If you want to talk politics, go to a political blog. Go to a news site. You might actually pick up an audience there because that's where they want to talk about it. A lot of times it's about the right words in the right venue. That's absolutely the right thing. And lastly, let your vote be your voice. That's really what we're all about, and we don't have to push that out onto other people. I promise you, even if you try to be neutral, the crazies will come out, and they will use your Facebook profile as their platform, okay? So unless you're actually running for office, and we know that Matt Fedek is our mayor of his little town, that's great. He has to talk politics. But it's not the other kind of office, right? Social media office. Chad. I think he is the mayor of Subway, Blockbuster, and Starbucks in his town. That's wonderful. But that aside, let's make social media a no politics zone. I think it's the best business decision for you, all right? Pinterest. All right, I've played around with this a little bit. It's probably the #1 social media tool that was requested. Tell me what's going on there. Tell me what's going on there. Pinterest is really important, right? There's kind of a please let it be important because I just stayed up all night pinning aprons. A lot of y'all have seen Puss in Boots. That's great. Y'all have kids. So for the guys in the room, this is what Pinterest looks like. It's essentially a bulletin board, a really cool one online, and anything that you find on the web, you can create a pin for. So you create pins, you create boards with themes, and you have a profile, and that's where you collect followers and you share these things. It's actually a really amazing tool for what it is. So the pins, like this little bookshelf. Bookshelf says he is my caption, right? That's actually where you interact with people. That photograph is a link back to the site where I found it, right? You can collect your pins on a board. My wife and I were thinking about remodeling our home. We're obviously very into books and into secret passageways, so we pin these things. But it's a really cool way. You just click a little button and you pin it up. And then you have your profile. This is our good friend Lonnie. She's at AG Beat. And this is where you get to tell folks who you are, what you do, and where they can find you on the web, right? And that's where you go and you follow people. It's just like a lot of other social networks. So is there a business application? Well, I think there is. I think first and foremost, as a bulletin board, it rocks. If you have a reason to collect information on the web and put it in a place where your clients can find it, it's a great deal. So maybe you might collect historic homes in your farm, maybe landmarks in your town, your favorite restaurants, anything that you might put on a list that you would be wanting to share with someone, it's a great thing to do. In this case, Lonnie was telling me that she collects infographics on technology because people are always asking her. Now she can point them to that solution. Maybe you might collect great articles on the housing market. Oh, you want to read about that? Just go to my Pinterest page. It can become a great shorthand for guiding people to a collection of something. And it's really good at that. That's its core purpose. What it's also good at is driving traffic. This is really astounding. This is a brand new social network. You know, a year ago they had 600,000 users and they have 20 million now. This is the fastest growing social network ever, faster than Facebook. And so when you look at where people are referring people to other websites, they're following links from one website to another, only Google and Facebook refer more traffic on the web than Pinterest. And it's brand new. So this is what people do. They click on links and they go other places. And that has huge application for your business. So if you want to take a look at what are people pinning on your website, this is a really cool trick. Go to pinterest.com/source/your website. We did this by going source/kellerinc.com, and we wanted to see what people were pinning on our book site and our blog site. And this is what we found. It's a good indication of what's popular that you're doing, and it can tell you to do more of that. It's a great place to start if you're thinking about creating pinnable content. So what are the do's and don'ts to wrap this up? If you are a blogger, if you've made a commitment to doing a blog post every week or every day, make sure you include an interesting graphic. Because that's where it's at for pinning, right? If there's a graphic on there, then you can pin it. And then people will find it and follow the link back to your blog. We just saw how much traffic is driven there. On Keller Inc., if you look at our blog post there, we actually take all of our image and we put them through a free filter. We want them to look a little bit different. We want them to stand out so that they'll stand out on Pinterest and we can get more traffic. Do collect and share content. Like I said, it's a great bulletin board. If you have an application for that in your business, do it. It's a great tool and it's free. And have fun. It's a brand new social network. Everybody feels guilty for staying up all night, like I said, pinning rolling pins or whatever it is. It's great fun. Do it. Interact with your audience there. It doesn't have to always be about business. Don't forget your audience. You know, if you're working with, say, my grandfather, you know, or you know, a male military veteran that is never on the internet, this is not going to be his tool. Don't tell him to go there and pin his favorite colors for their next house. And don't pin across social networks, right? Well, on that last note, I'll explain that. The demographics are really clear. They're very heavily favored towards females right now. It also does home decor, hobbies, and fashion. Now, I go on there and I pin my favorite beers, right? And in Great Britain, you have a lot of males there that are pinning technology. It all depends on the group that you're in and the audience you have. But know your audience before you send them to Pinterest. And then don't pin across social networks. I see a lot of people pinning and then everything shows up in my Facebook feed. I do hide some of these people, just like I hide political posts. Here's the reason. There's a place for pinning and there's a place for Facebook. It's the wrong place. It's like going to France and speaking German and ordering schnitzel everywhere you go, right? It's the wrong language. It feels out of place. So just keep it appropriate. I don't really believe in cross-pollinating social networks at all. I don't like to see hashtags on Facebook and vice versa. So just keep it where it is what it is, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, here's the big one, personal branding. 81% of people Google each other before a blind date. It used to be called stalking, right? And it's totally normal now. 74% of people will Google a service or product before they buy it. With cell phones, it's just, all you have to do is step out on the aisle and go, is this any good, right? Reviews for whatever you're looking for. So what I want to ask you is, what will people find if they Google you? If they put your name into Google, who will they find? Will they be sure it's even you? This really came to light for me this summer. My niece, Katie Mars, is trying to get a job in Austin. She came to stay with us, and my wife and I set her up with about 10 or 11 interviews with some cool people. Well, when she went to Google herself, right out of college, she got to find out that there's an adult actress that shares her name. This is not good for job interviews. Well, there's a way that you can control it, and that's where social media comes to the rescue. By optimizing your social media websites, you can get them to rank higher in the index, so that when you type in Katie Mars, despite the fact that there are many other ones out there, she controlled the entire first page of her results within 3 weeks. Okay? So I'm going to share with you how to do that. Here it is, the research. This just came out, because I know Chad talked to you about the changes to Google. You can't read all of these, but I'll tell you what it basically says. Right now, above backlinks and keywords, Google+, the plus ones, and Facebook shares have a higher correlation to your ranking in the index. So Google has figured it out. They have said social matters, and we're going to start counting it towards where you rank. So they're already looking, and your profiles are the key. So here are the 5 areas we're going to go through. And I'm not going to tell you to do this everywhere. I want you to focus. There are some sites that matter more, okay? Google+, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, ActiveRank, Tumblr, Flickr. If you had the luck to be on Wikipedia, Google is going to look there first. Those sites have more credibility when people are looking for you. So if you have a strong result there, it shows up high. A lot of you have a LinkedIn page. You've probably experienced this. You spent 20 minutes on LinkedIn, and suddenly, every time you search for yourself, you show up on the first page. It's a very, very powerful tool. It's a workaround. But it doesn't just happen by itself. The first thing I want you to do is claim your custom profile URL. On almost all of these sites, you can go to it and claim your name. So twitter.com/Heidi4. When people search for Heidi by her name, they are going to find this site very high in the rankings because of the way it's set up. The common question I get around this is, well, what if my name is taken? Well, I'll tell you what you should do. Go ahead and use your full name, Heidi4, but put an underscore between your first and last name. Put a dash between your first and last name. You can put a number at the end, or on one of Ben Kinney's site, he put Mr. Ben Kinney, right? The goal here is to have your first and last name together, because that's how people are searching for them and how Google will find them. The thing I see a lot of people doing is putting their middle initial in the middle. Don't do that anymore, because people don't search for you with your middle initial, right? That's not how they're looking for you, so Google's not going to know to find you that way. So by hook or crook, get your name together. Even if you have to do the old Yahoo email, jpapasan484@yahoo.com, that's better than dividing your name up or using initials. The second thing is to use your full name in keywords. This was a real hard adjustment for me when I learned to do this. I went to my LinkedIn profile and I realized that other than my name, everything else said a creative exec at Keller Williams. Had my title. I went straight to the verb. And really, if you want to optimize these profiles for SEO, you need to use your full name. And so it's a little bit like journalistic style. J. Papasan is executive editor and VP of publishing at Keller Williams. Don't think of it like the athlete that talks about themselves in third person at the football game, which is kind of weird, J. Papasan gonna have a great game today. It's journalistic style, right? That's how I got comfortable with it. And the other thing I made sure that was on there is the place, Austin, Texas. If someone is confused about who I am, well, the thing they would add next would be where I was. J. Papasan, narrow it down, where? So you look for keywords. That was the first one. If I was in real estate, you better believe it would be real estate, real estate, real estate agent. Backlinks. Now, I know Chad talked about this. The only thing I really want to talk about here is everything that you're going to read about social media is going to say that backlinks on social media don't count. And what they mean is in post. If you kept saying my website, my website, my website on Twitter, Google is going to ignore that. It's going to be what they call a no-follow link. But in your bios on a lot of prominent sites, they actually have high-quality links. They're called do-follow links. And those act as legitimate backlinks to your website. In particular, LinkedIn, Google+, YouTube, Pinterest, those are all high-quality do-follow links. And what I would tell you is in every bio everywhere, you should be linking back to your website. They may change the rules. Even no-follow links count for something. So be proactive. You're trying to catch people in your web. You want them to find you on your real estate website. 4, profile photos. I talked about this last year as your yard sign. Make it interesting, stand out from the crowd. You'll notice that on every single network that I'm on, I use the same yard sign. Doesn't that make sense? Would you have a different yard sign for every house that you put out there? No, you want people to recognize it. And what's really cool is if you go out, I mean, again, if you did these 5 steps, you could probably do one afternoon, 2 or 3 hours, and knock all of this out. And it's easy to add the same profile photo again and again. But what you're doing is creating a personal brand. This image says who I am to people. They recognize it. And when I change it, and I will change it eventually, my wife's already tired of it, I'm going to change all of them at once, right? I want to make sure that it's a branding decision. What's really cool is that right now, if you look at my Google results, I did a +1 on my real estate website. Google is now doing something called visual cues. My profile photo now shows up next to my real estate website where my wife works. But if I'm trying to drive business her way, right? That's where I wanted it. So it actually works in your favor in a lot of ways. Now they recognize it, they go, oh, that must be the Jay Papasan's real estate website. Finally, build a home base. If you don't have a really great bio page on your real estate website, there are a million sites you can do for free. This site is called about.me. About.me. And this is Ben Kinney's. I just picked this without his permission. He did not set it up in any way. But if you look at his home base, it is optimized because it was built that way. That's his name. That's his keywords. And there are his links. And it takes about 15 minutes to set up. The hardest thing to set up on an about.me page is they really want a nice photograph. And I had to tinker with that for a little while. But it's optimized for SEO. And when you do the same steps, the 5 steps that we've talked about, it's going to rank high in the rankings. And you control it, and you can drive traffic where you want it. So it's 5 steps. My goal would be for you to be able to go home and optimize all of your social media in one session. It's not something you have to do every day, but now all of those social media sites can start working for you. Now we've got, if you want help for this, here's a great site, brandyourself.com. It will walk you through the process of optimizing a social media site. It'll do it 3 times for free, and then it'll ask you to pay. I ended up paying $9.99, and I just got a month and then canceled. And I did every single site I had in about an hour and a half. So it's a good tool if you really want someone to walk you through it, brandyourself.com. All right, I'm running out of time, but I'm going to give you one bonus P. We're going to do prospecting. There's a cool new tool that just came out this year at South by Southwest Interactive. It's called Highlight. It's for the hardcore networker, the person who really wants to find people in their network. Here's how it works. Highlight. If you log in with your Facebook credentials, anytime someone who is connected to you, and they can only like the same movie, like I've had someone show up in my highlight stream that we both like the movie Jaws on Facebook. If they are nearby, Highlight will tell you they are nearby. I was in the airport coming back from Disney, and I looked at my phone, and it said, Brett Hurt, CEO of Bizarre Voice, is nearby. I look up, because I can see his picture, and he's standing 3 feet away. I got to walk up and shake the hand of one of the hottest CEOs in town that just had a big IPO. We'd been to his place, said, hi, do you remember us from Keller Williams? Yada, yada, yada. Now think about this for you. The next time you're in the grocery store, Highlight might alert you that one of your past clients is there. And we all know our past clients. There's some of them that we want to run out and say, hey, how are you doing? And there's some of them we want to run and hide. But Highlight will give you that choice. So there's our last tip for the day. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.